Okay, so the question we're looking at today is question C, and this is our 8-mark question, okay, which usually Year 11s have typically more struggled with, and this is where a lot of you end up losing points because you haven't quite understood how it wants to be set out, how you should put your information down that you know, okay? And this is one of the questions in the exam where they really, really want to see your subject knowledge. They want to see what you've learned and what you know about this particular piece of information, okay? So this one is taken from the Community Cohesion Unit, and it says, explain why Christians should help to promote racial harmony, okay? What we're expecting you to put down and what the examiner will be looking for is 4 simple points, okay? I would always use 4 points because it displays well what you know. We know this is an explain question, so I don't want anybody stating anything or bullet pointing anything. The key to this question is explaining and obviously why, okay? So for me, if I was answering this, just do a really brief, and I'm saying brief so you don't copy this, okay, answer would be, my first point would be, we know that Christians believe in Jesus, and what did Jesus teach? The first one would be, Jesus taught things like the parable of the Good Samaritan. As I say, I'm doing this briefly, just so you can see the points and you can then go and elaborate on. Okay, and the parable of the Good Samaritan is obviously the story where Jesus helps a neighbour that actually was an enemy of the time, okay, which shows us that even if you're of a different race, you should help those that are in need, okay? So that'd be our first point, something that Jesus taught, okay? The second point I would use is the ideas of the church, the Christian church, and the church teaches that the church is open for all, okay? It's not just for white men or black men, or the church is a family for all races, okay? So the church is open for all. You can all go and worship there on a Sunday, no matter who you are, okay? The other one would be another teaching from the Bible that isn't necessarily what Jesus taught, but found somewhere else in the Bible. And we could use the verse that we can use across, which is, we're all created equal in the eyes of God, okay? So the Bible teaches equality. And for a 4th point, because as I say, it's an 8-mark, 2 points per sort of piece of information. So the 4th one, I would use something like Desmond Tutu that we've looked at, or maybe another religious person that you've looked at within Christianity, that someone like Desmond Tutu works actively to create racial harmony. He works to get laws stated and things like that to sort of diminish this sort of stuff, okay? So as I say, what's important about this answer is you've got 4 clear points, okay? The second bit that I really, really want you to take on board is the use of connectives. What's important about the 8-mark and where people often lose points is the flow of the argument is really hard to follow. So if we use things like firstly, okay, secondly, and it doesn't matter if you think, wow, this sounds really basic, what's important is that the examiner knows what you're saying. Another reason, you could put thirdly, whatever. And then to conclude, or lastly, whatever words that you know that work for you, okay? This shows the examiner really clearly your 4 points. Let's think about the examiner's not going to spend a lot of time reading your material, trying to decipher what you're saying. So if you put it clearly in front of him, all he's going to do is mark, 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 okay? Which is going to make your paper easy to mark, which means you're more likely to get points that he might not necessarily be able to see if you don't set it out like this, okay? As I say, the key to 8-mark is the way you set it out and the way you're giving that information. That is my tips.